Alright, what we're going to do here is like a Southwestern trowel texture. What you do is you get your blade really wet, a lot of mud, start at your top, just pull it down and leave it. Again, overlap about an inch or two, same thing. It's a little hard to see in here because you got very little lighting. But all you're doing is putting about an inch thick of mud on here, keeping it wet. This is going to help smooth out your walls if you have any imperfections. If you have any tape, anything that you should have probably done another coat. This is kind of a fast cheating way to get a nice looking texture on your walls and not have to second coat, or third coat anyway. You should do a light second coat on your seams and stuff over your paper. But what you do is just get a good amount, I don't know if you can see it real well, smooth it down a little bit, just filling in some voids. Bring it down a couple of feet, smooth that down, bring it down again, same thing. Just an inch or so of mud on your blade, keep it really wet. Again, get a couple of feet, pull any of your voids out. So it's almost bringing to a level 3, level 4 finish. But it doesn't have to be as perfect. Now what you do, you get a little section, or you can bring it all the way down, however you want to do it, but just kind of keep it wet. It's about 1/8 of an inch thick on the walls. Now you're going to, again, take your blade. Now you're going to put a little bit less mud, just enough to just kind of tip off your blade. I don't know if you can see it real well, but just enough to tip it off. And what you do is barely, you don't want to put any pressure on it. No pressure at all. Just put a tad bit of mud on the tip of your blade. Same thing. Overlap just a little bit, bring it down just a hair. Now what that's going to do is it's going to kind of catch that mud onto your blade and onto this mud, and it's going to leave this almost stucco look to your walls. And it does use a lot of product. It's the only thing. Now you don't want to start your blade down here after you've done a couple of feet. You don't want to start your blade here. You almost want to start on your edges. You want to pull it a couple different ways. Maybe start at the bottom, bring it up. Start in the middle, bring it up. Now what you're doing, if you want, you can also just real lightly draw your blade down over it again. You want to put a little pressure on it because you don't want to see it bouncing. That's what happens sometimes. You see it bounce. You see little bouncy marks. But if you see any kind of voice, it's real nice because you can just go over it again until you like it, until it looks good. Again, just at the tip of your brush, your trowel, or your blade, bring it down. Again, start here. Start at your edges and bring it in. Start your edges, bring it in. So you never want to, what you don't want to do is start here, because now you leave a straight blade line, and that's not going to work out very well. So if you do, pull it and get it to your liking. It's pretty much, get some chunks in there. Here, start at the edges, bring it in. Try the edge again, bring it in. Bring it in. Now this is technically what it looks like, but we want to fill the voids. We really want to get a good smooth base coat keep applying it until you get a few feet of a nice smooth base coat. Okay, now we smooth it a little bit. And again, now just a little tip of your blade. And you basically touch it, you leave it. If you don't like it, you can go back over just a smidgen, just a little bit. I'll do this section of wall so y'all can kind of see what the finished product looks like. And then our next section, we'll put a little bit of paint on it, some primer and paint. And then you all see what it really looks like at the very end. Now when you really get good, honestly, you can start in the middle, and that leaves what you want. But now when we run what we're going to do is when we're done, we take our pole sander, just very, very lightly with no pressure, like kind of a once over, and just go over the whole wall. And it'll take any kind of drips, any kind of, swirl marks that you might have put in it that are really high that you don't want. And we'll get you a little close up here in a second. Kind of see the way it looks. I really like this type of texture just because it looks like an interior stucco job. You always want to finish outside of your work area. You don't ever want to stop in the middle. You don't want any hard lines. What's nice about this is you just keep working it. And you're putting a little bit more mud on every time, but let's say I mess up and I can't get it right, you can always dig into it. You can take a big section off, and then you take about half and half, about half of what you started with, half of what your second coat would be, and literally just go over it. So, here basically is, you want to zoom in, take a look, get a little bit closer. It's a little hard to see it, but if you look, this is your texture. So your first coat basically will stick to your second coat on your paddle, or on your blade, and it will pull it off and kind of lay it down, and with very little pressure, this is what you get. And we'll show you what it looks like when it's painted. Thanks, tune in next time.